Hi, everybody. So I have a little lesson here to go into a little bit more depth about how to write an intro. So let's go ahead and get into it, and I'll show you a few more examples. All right, so your introductory paragraph. When I talk about introductions in this class, since most of the essays we do in English 101 are responding to a single reading, the structure that we talk about in here will fit in that type of essay. When you start getting into essays where you are blending together or synthesizing material from multiple articles, the structure or the way the intro is developed is going to be a little bit different. So just make sure you keep that in mind when you are doing essays in other classes. So when you are writing an intro for an essay that's responding to a single reading, this is basically the structure you want to follow. The first section will be what I call engaging introductory material. Some of you may have heard of this called the hook or the attention getter. So that's going to be the first part of your intro. Then about halfway through the introductory paragraph, you will introduce the reading. And then your last sentence will be your thesis statement. So let's go into this a little bit more deliberately. So here's the sample from, here's the intro from the sample paper that you should have available to you. And here we see that first section, which really does make up about half of the introduction, which is that introductory material. So this one says, teacher, electrician, social media influencer. If I did not stumble upon other career ideas on my own, I would not have known what else was available to me. Choosing a career is so important, but people often do not spend enough time learning about their options. Young people tend to focus on a few obvious options and do not even realize that there is much to learn about careers that are not as well known. So what we see here, we see the student here making a personal connection at the beginning. So they're talking about their own personal experiences, but then they sort of broaden it to show the significance in kind of a wider world, if that makes sense. All right. You do not have to use personal experience as your introductory strategy. That's just one possibility. And sometimes with the Unit 1 essay, it's a little bit hard to do that because you're already using so much personal experience in the body of the essay itself. So if you're finding that that's challenging, there are some other strategies to use. Then we move into the second part, and this is where you'll introduce the article. So we talk about the title, the author's name, what the author's the main idea is. And then the last sentence is the thesis, and this is where you will be previewing your body paragraphs. All right. So let's go into this a little bit more. So I think a lot of people have questions about what to do with that engaging introductory material. So remember that your general goals here are to engage or interest the reader, draw them in. But another goal of the introduction is to show how this essay relates to the world in general or to your readers' lives. So this is where you might use something other than personal experience. So some strategies that you could consider. Again, personal experience. You can tell something that you've experienced yourself, but if you're writing a personal essay, try not to double dip and use something that will come in the body of your essay and use that in your intro as well. So you'd have to come up with like something completely different, which some people do, and that's fine. You can think about common experiences, things that happen out there that most people have, experienced. You could make up a hypothetical experience. Now, a hypothetical is something that hasn't necessarily happened, but it's realistic. It could happen. You could describe a scene, so it's not necessarily happening, but just something that you're looking at. I don't know if that makes sense. You can focus in on current events. What are some things that are happening in the news that might relate to your topic? You could use a quotation. This could be something that your mom always said, or it could be a famous person's quotation. There is a site that I use that's called Brainy Quotes that I'll sometimes go to look up quotations, and I'll show you that in a minute. Now, if you're using a quotation, you're probably going to have to use another strategy as well, because just a quotation by itself is not really going to be enough to bulk up that first part of the intro. If there's a pop culture reference or a historical reference or a literary reference that fits, you could do that. or you could use facts and statistics. The other thing that sometimes people ask here is, can you look up facts and statistics, or could you look up something about current events? I don't want this to turn into a big research paper, so you don't have to find a ton of other sources besides the reading one that you're responding to. But if you wanted to Google a quick fact or statistic, you could certainly do that. If it's something specific from a specific source, you will still cite it, and I can help you with that if you need help. All right. I think there was something else. The other thing I usually say here is that you can combine strategies. So if we go back, I think that we have in the sample paper, he does some personal experience, but then he sort of talks about common experiences as well. All right, let's go back to that. What's the easiest way to go back? I guess exit full screen, right? So here's his personal experience, right? If I did not stumble upon other career ideas, I would not have known what else was available to me. But then he goes into this sort of common general experiences. So he combines those two possibilities, all right? So when we're looking at these general these specific strategies to consider, it's not letting me do that. There we go. You could combine a couple of these. All right. Now, while we have this up, I do want to show you this document that I'll make available to you as well. This goes into a little bit more detail about some of these specific strategies, and it also gives you some kind of sentence starters, some sentence stems that might help you get started with this. Okay. It also gives you some what not to do in your intro, so just pay attention to that as well. And at the end, it goes into some concluding ideas as well. All right. Good. Now, next up, we have introducing the reading. This should be 1 or 2 sentences. I think in most of the examples I'm providing to you, they're 1 sentence, but if you find it difficult to get all this information in 1 sentence, you could certainly do 2. You want to have the article title. This is the one time you'll mention the author's full name. From here on out, it will be the author's last name. Where the article is published, so what website or what newspaper or magazine. The year of publication, and the author's main idea, and you want to state this in your own words, please. And then, like I said, the last sentence in the intro will be your thesis statement, and that will preview your body paragraphs. So I have a few more examples for you to look at so you can see this structure or this pattern in a few different examples. The font is very small. To fit a whole paragraph on a slide here, had to make the font a little bit small. But let's look at a couple of these. And I have them color-coded. The blue is the introductory engaging material. The red is introducing the article, and the green is the thesis. Okay. So what if every product you use today had a hidden environmental cost? The plastic water bottle you tossed in the trash might end up in the ocean. That trendy new shirt could have required thousands of gallons of water to produce. Even a single-use coffee cup could contribute to overflowing landfills. From plastic packaging to fast fashion, our everyday choices have a massive impact on the planet. Unfortunately, many people are unaware of how their actions contribute to environmental damage. So that's that introductory engaging material. So we're kind of showing what's going on in the world that relates to what the essay is about. The other thing I want you to notice here is there's some very good, vivid, specific details in here as well. So you can kind of push yourself and add some detailed material in this first part of your intro. Then we go into the article title. So one thing I want you to see here, notice how this sentence starts with, this is the issue addressed in the article Teaching Sustainability. So a lot of times when we lead into the article, that information will start with something like, this is the issue addressed in, or the author expresses, Sam Jones expresses their concern about this problem. So a lot of times the first sentence in that introducing the article is relating back to that introductory material by saying, this is the issue, or this is a problem, or this is the concern. So that means that what you're doing in that introductory material is describing the issue or the problem or the concern that the rest of the essay will be focusing on, if that makes sense. Teaching Sustainability, A School's Role in Saving the Planet by Rachel Green, 2020, which argues that schools must play a key role in promoting environmental awareness. So here's that article, right? This made me think about what I've learned about sustainability from documentaries, community initiatives, and my own habits. So here we see that preview of the 3 body paragraphs. Okay. Another example. Did you know that 1 in 3 Americans eats fast food every day? For some, it's a quick breakfast sandwich on the way to work. For others, it's a drive-through burger and fries after a long day. Fast food is cheap, convenient, and everywhere, but it comes with hidden costs like rising rates of obesity, diabetes, and heart disease. The bright signs and catchy jingles might make it seem harmless, but fast food's health consequences are anything but. So there's our introductory material, what's going on in the world that your essay will be related to, right? And there's some good specific details in there as well. In the article, Fast Food Nation, How Our Diet Shapes Our Future, Eric Miller claims that schools should educate students about the risks of a fast food lifestyle. Reading this article made me reflect on how fast food was a regular part of my childhood, what I've learned about nutrition as an adult, and how I still struggle to make healthier choices. 1, 2, 3. Right. A lot of these sound like they're about schools, and your paper does not have to be about schools. That's just these intros kind of are all about that particular topic. You just need to tough it out. So here's some quotations. Stop overthinking. These phrases are often used to dismiss mental health struggles, especially among young people. Yet mental health is just as important as physical health, and ignoring it can lead to serious consequences. This is the concern addressed by Dr. Anthony Reed in his 2021 article, Breaking the Stigma, Why Schools Must Address Mental Health, where Reed advocates for schools to prioritize mental health education. His argument reminded me of how mental health was treated in my family, in the media, and in my own school experiences. All right? So about half of the paragraph is made up of the blue, the engaging material, and then the rest of the intro is made up of the introducing the article and the thesis. I think I have one more. All right, got our Eagles playing this weekend that I'm making this video, so I had to have a little Eagles reference. Eagles green. Midnight chants of Fly, Eagles Fly. The roar of a packed stadium is something Philadelphia fans know well, and their loyalty runs deep. Supporting a professional sports team can bring a city together, but it can also divide opinions about the value of sports culture. In the article, The Economics of Sports Fandom, Tyler Brooks, 2023, explores how professional sports teams contribute to local economies and community spirit. His ideas made me think about how rooting for the Eagles has shaped my family traditions, my understanding of teamwork, and my pride in the city. All right, so hopefully looking at a couple examples like that gives you a better idea of what your intro should sound like or look like. If you are still having trouble with this, let me know. But remember, on the outline, you're just giving me some ideas of what you have in mind. And if you need some redirection, I'll redirect. And if you are filling out your outline and you're really, really stuck, just write a note to me. Like if you're trying to work on that introductory material and you're really stuck on it, just write a note saying, I'm not really sure what I need to do here, and then I can give you some more direct feedback when I'm looking over your outline. So I hope that helps, and as always, let me know if you have any questions. All right? Take care, and go Birds!